trying to see if we live on here. Yeah, we'll get into it. Yeah, we live. And I'll start sharing in a minute, man. Uh, First I want to say ETM Hotep, Dua Aku, Dua Netcher, Fatmo Alafie, Fatmo Iwa Pele, Majuba Iba E, Lakba, Majuba Iba E, Lakba, Majuba Iba E, Egungun, Majuba Iba E, Egungun. Um, I always, Egungun, Kiki Egungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to say Black African Power. Uh, Today's show is we got a new family member to the roster now, so y'all be seeing more him. Brother Sutek will be presenting today. I got Brother Sutek right now and Brother Satepara on the panel. Brother Satep, you got anything, man, before I turn it over to turn it over to Sutek.
Nah, just I hope y'all enjoy the show. Welcome to the family, brother Sutek. You know, you on a good team of researchers. You know, good team of people that practice Tep Hesed, you know, correct methodology. So, yeah, man, welcome to the family, and you know, looking forward to this presentation and many more. Peace.
All right, I'm gonna get ready to turn it over to Sutek, and then I'm gonna start. I'll start. Hold on, I know I'm starting it. Hold on one second, Sutek. Dang, I got these darn headphones on. All right, let me turn it down. Peace. All right. Uh, let me go and share my screen. Uh, Hold on, I'm gonna lock it on me. Okay? It's showing. Hold on. Copy the link. Let's go share.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man. I'm bridging my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should. Bring from I should. I'm ripping my team, red, black, and green, queen and king, salute, now scream, I should. Bring from I should. I should.
All right.
All right, Sutek, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
All right, first I want to say ETM Hotep, I welcome and peace. Alafia Ibi, peace to the family, peace to the ancestors, the Gungun, peace to the chat, and peace to my brothers on the panel. Today I'm gonna be talking about the Berbers, the Tuareg Berbers to be specific. We're gonna get into a little bit of their customs, their foods, their history, their social caste, and see if we, as descendants of sub-Saharan African people, should be identifying with this ethnic group of people. As we know, many of our people do. We will find out the answer to this question and learn a little bit about the Tuareg Berber group in the meantime. So let's get into it. You go to the next slide, Kofi.
Hold on. I'm gonna go on record.
All right. Tuaregs are Berbers that live in and around the Sahara Desert from Algeria and Libya in the north to northern Nigeria and Mali in the south. I think somebody might have to mute their mic.
I know it. I already know it.
Hold on, that's me. You know I can't mute I can't even mute my mic. Hold on, let me see if I can. Hold on, I'm sorry, man. Let me go back.
Nah, you good.
Hold on. I'm gonna go see if I can mute it and still share. I can.
Okay, cool.
Oh, lady with her. I guess I can. Hold on, let me take it out. Let me start sharing real quick. All right, let me.
Okay. 1 second, people. Okay, Tuaregs or Berbers that live. Okay. Tuaregs or Berbers that live in and around the Sahara Desert from Algeria and Libya in the north to northern Nigeria and Mali in the south. According to some scholars, the word Tuareg is taken from the word Tarika, a valley in the region of Fezzan in Libya. They were also called in the writings of Europeans blue men because of their large number of indigo blue dyed clothes that would stain their skin. And on the right, I got an example of that. The brother with his skin stained from the indigo blue dyed clothes. They also stains their faces sometimes too. Others argue the name comes from the Arabic word Tawarik. Tuaregs became a hybrid combination of several races such as the Tarji. And the Tarji are ethnic Tuaregs as opposed to customary Tuaregs, but we'll get into that later. Tuaregs became a hybrid combination of several races such as Tarji, Arab, and African due to living with the Arabs in the north and Negroes in the south. Okay, you can go to the next slide, Kofi. The Tuaregs speak a Berber language called Tamashek. It has 4 main dialects, which are largely and mutually intelligible. The Tuareg often call themselves Kel Tamashek, meaning the people of the Tamashek language. Tamashek is written in a script called Tifinagh. Many of their servants speak Songhai, Hausa, and French. They traditionally adhere to Berber mythology until they adopted Islam in the medieval period. And I will get into why it says many of their servants speak Songhai, Hausa, and French, and there's a reason for that. You can go to the next slide, Kofi. Taguela is a flatbread made from wheat flour cooked on a charcoal fire. The flat dish-shaped bread is buried under hot sand. The bread is broken into small pieces and eaten with a meat sauce. Millet porridge called liwa is a staple, much like ugali and fufu. Millet is boiled to make a pap, in which a pap is a Dutch word for porridge, and it's made by grinding up maize and eaten with milk or a heavy sauce. Common dairy foods are goats and camel's milk called ak. Much Tuareg art is in the form of jewelry, leather, metal saddle decorations called trik, and finely crafted swords. Traditional weapons include straight swords, long daggers, short daggers, and sheath attached to the left forearm, lances, leather-covered wooden bows, wooden arrows, wooden sticks, and shields. Next slide. The origin of Berbers is a matter of intense debate among scholars. The main obstacle is the lack of written sources in Berber language. The oral history is rich with traditional with traditions of various origins, with the only ancient sources available written by foreigners, such as Herodotus of the 5th century BCE and Seneca of the 1st century CE. Medieval writers provide their own, often speculative theories about Berber origins. Not surprisingly, Arab writers generally consider Berbers as Middle Eastern or Arab in origin. A linguistic approach is often used to identify Berber family origins. This approach led to attempts to connect Berbers to Celts, Basques, or Caucasians, sometimes to label Berbers as distinctly European. Many Berbers today see themselves as indigenous to North Africa. A semi-nomadic people, Tuaregs were one of the ethnic groups that have been historically influential in the spread of Islam and its legacy in North Africa and the adjacent Sahel. They have controlled several trans-Saharan trade routes and have been an important party to the conflicts in Saharan region during colonial and post-colonial times. And we know they play a big part. A big part of the trans-Saharan trade was the trade of slaves. So we do know that the Tuaregs were complicit in the slave trade. We also know that they play a big role in the violent conflicts today that goes on in Mali still to this day. You can go to the next slide, Kofi. Women enjoy a great position with the Tuareg and enjoy considerable independence, able to go out without their husband's permission and do business and deal with other men, hosting who they want to be in the presence of their husband or without them. The specialists consider that the Tuareg of a matriarchal society revered and respected women. Their women do not mask their face, the men do. The most famous Tuareg in history is a woman named Teen Hinan, a mythical leader queen that founded the kingdom of Hagar Amazai. Next slide. Since the 7th century Arab invasions of North Africa, Tuaregs have traveled south in a series of migrations. They fought with Arabs, Turks, and European invaders over the years. By 711, Arabs conquered North Africa and the Tuareg were driven south into the desert. In the 15th century, Air emerged as a centralized Tuareg state in the modern-day northern Niger, with wealth based on control of trans-Saharan trade routes. So basically the Tuareg had control of these trans-Saharan trade routes. And again, a lot of the commodity in the trans-Saharan trade routes were slave. A big part of it was slaves. Trade included gold, ivory, ostrich, feathers, and slaves from West Africa to the Mediterranean coast. Southbound caravans carried salt and Arab and European goods to West Africa. Agadez, a region in Niger, was a part of the Songhai Empire from 1501 to 1532 and paid tribute to Kanem Bornu from 1532 to the 1600s. Air attacked Bornu and expanded into neighboring states during the 17th and 18th centuries. Next slide. In the 1800s, the Sultan of Air reached its greatest extent, and Agadez became an important political center of the region. By 1870, Agadez lost its importance, and by 1900, Air became part of the French West African colony. As we know, a big chunk of West Africa is a part of the French West African colony. Tuaregs live in tents, but a large part of them settled in houses of mud. The tents are made of rough pieces of cloth woven from goat hair and pulled pillars to be installed ropes planted in the ground. A severe drought struck the Sahel in 1968 to 1974 and again in 1984 to 1985, permanently changing Tuareg lifestyle. Next slide. Before the colonial era, the Tuareg were divided into 7 main groupings: Kel or Hagar, Kel or Jur, Kel or Drar, Kel Air, Kel Garez, Alumadin Kel Denek. I'm slaughtering these words, I know, but Alumadin Kel Ataram, Kel or Hagar, and Kel Ajur of South Algeria or the Northern Tuareg. Other groupings living mainly in the Sahel or the Southern Tuareg. Each group was led by an Amenakal, which is a king. The 3 main, now we're going to get into the social classes of the Tuareg and see what social class would our people be in. There are 3 Tuareg social classes. Nobles are the highest caste, called Imajagan, meaning the proud and free. The nobles had a monopoly on carrying guns, owning camels, and were the warriors. The ordinary people, who were vassals and herdsmen, are the second free strata, occupying a position just below that of the nobles, known as Imgad. The ordinary people. They do not own camels, but donkeys and herds of goats, sheep, and oxen. They also pay annual tribute to the nobles. Next slide.
Brother Sutek.
Peace, Sean. What's up?
Peace, bro. Hey, you going in? I just want to throw something in real quick, man. While you throwing these daggers out.
Go ahead.
When people think of the Tuareg, I want you to think of them like this: the Tuareg are Uber drivers. They ruled the Sahel, the Sahara. They were like taxi cabs. When you see people traveling across the deserts, them looking like nomads, that's the Tuareg. When you see him in a light blue like he's showing you on the screen, that's the Tuareg. You can really identify them a little bit better than the different than the Fulani and the Hassa and all of them, because they have a unique texture and their culture and all of that stuff. But that's it. That's all I want to throw in.
Yeah, that's peace. That's a fact. You can identify them too by, like you said, the blue clothes, the blue indigo dyed clothes that they wear, and by the men that mask their face. They usually always masked up when they go out. So yeah, that's absolutely right. And they were also like you said, they was the taxi cabs of the desert. They controlled the caravans, and they played a big part in the trans-Saharan trade routes. They also were mercenaries for hire. So, if you had a problem, you needed handled, you can go holler at the Tuareg and they'll handle that.
Big facts. Many people don't know that. That's big right there. So you said something key that I think that should stand out to people when talking about the Tuareg, because many people get lost into them. You said there's three different types, and then you just broke down what type, and then you said what type would we fall in. You feel me? So when you say what we would fall in, you meaning we, us West Africans, because they were also in the North and Northeast Africa as well. So if you heard him break that down, he went to Algeria, he came back to West Africa, he went all the way through there, because the Tuareg are spread out, and they're what we can say today would be a multicultural type of a people. That's it, man. I ain't mean to break your bill. Go in, bro.
Nah, you good, bro. That's facts. I appreciate it. Now, like Brother Sean said, we're gonna get into the class that we would fall into, which sadly would be the lowest Tuareg social class, the Ecline. They are sub-Saharan Black African slaves and their descendants. They often live in communities separated from other castes. The word Ecline itself means to be black, an allusion to most Tuareg slaves. So I want to pound that into people's head too. Our people, meaning sub-Saharan, West African people, and East African people, would be considered in the lowest Tuareg social class that it is. and it's called the E-clan. So I'm gonna read that over again. The lowest Tuareg social class is the E-clan. They are sub-Saharan black African slaves and their descendants. They often live in communities separated from other castes. The word E-clan itself means to be black, an allusion to most Tuareg slaves. So not all Tuareg slaves were black, but most of them were. Most of them were E-clan. You can go to the next slide, Kofi. While the E-clan now speak the same language as the Tuareg nobles and share many customs, they are of assimilated Nilotic origin rather than of Berber heritage like the ethnic Tuareg. And you see right there with that sentence is a clear distinction between ethnic Tuareg and what I would call customary Tuaregs. Tuaregs that just follow the customs, but they're not of Berber heritage, like the E-clan. So let me start over. While the E-clan now speak the same language as the Tuareg nobles and share many customs, they are of assimilated Nilotic origin rather than of Berber heritage like the ethnic Tuareg. The name E-clan is an exonym, which means a name not used by the people themselves and is used with negative connotations. In parts of West Africa today, an unknown number of E-clan caste individuals continue to live in slavery or slavery-like relationships with other Tuaregs. So still today, I mean, technically, slavery is outlawed, but it's still going on. It's still E-clan out there in slavery or slave-like conditions under these Tuareg nobles. Where was I at? In parts of West Africa today, an unknown number of E-clan caste individuals continue to live in slavery or slave-like relationships with other Tuaregs. Sometimes members of rival Kales, which are clans, defeated in war were subsumed as lower castes, but usually of a higher level than that of the E-clan. So even when they enslave their own noble people from other groups of Tuaregs, they are still higher than the E-clan. They still are considered higher, a higher level, a higher caste than the E-clan. So technically, the E-clan is at the bottom of the barrel with the Tuareg. And the E-clan are sub-Saharan African slaves and their descendants. So that's us. So to the Tuareg, we will be at the bottom of the barrel. Prior to the 20th century, the Tuareg captured most individual slaves during raids into other communities and war. War was the main slave source, though many were brought as slave markets ran mostly by indigenous peoples. Some Tuareg noble and vassal men married slaves and their children became free. That's how you get descendants of slaves, because their children from the Tuareg children that were born of the sub-Saharan African slaves would still be considered as E-clan, and they would still be that low social class at the bottom of the totem pole. War was the main source of slaves, though many were brought as slave markets ran mostly by indigenous peoples. Some Tuareg noble and vassal men married slaves and their children became free. Tuareg and Arabs of Mali refer to themselves as white and regard other Malians as black. So again, another clear distinction, especially in Mali, where we see all these violent conflicts going on and happening because of the Tuareg people, what they feel about the sub-Saharan African blacks. So the Tuareg and the Arabs of Mali refer to themselves as white and refer to our people as black. So that's a clear distinction. They make the Tuareg themselves are making a clear distinction between them and you. So we always have to remember that. I think that's it. Next slide, it will be my sources. And we got Tuareg, the Mass People. We got the wiki page for the Tuareg people, and the Encyclopedia of Peoples of Africa and the Middle East, Encyclopedia of African Religion, which I think everybody should have that book. It's been reiterated before, but I want to do it again. Everybody should have that book. That is a great universal book, especially dealing with Africa and its people and the culture and the religion. You gotta have that book, man. It's some of everything in there. Encyclopedia Britannica on the Tuareg, the Council of Foreign Relations website, and I got the Equine wiki page. So, in conclusion, I see a lot of our people like to identify with the Tuareg and to be specific. Our Moors, a lot of our Moorish brothers love to connect themselves to the Tuareg. Our good brother Tahaka Bey just did just that, just like 2 or 3 weeks ago on Sinetta's platform in a debate against our brother Rob Bourne, Alan Brown. The Tuareg are people deeply romanticized by the Afrocentric community. I feel a lot of it stemming from the confirmation bias information that a lot of our elder scholars and ancestors put out, like Van Sertima. We do.
Sick.
What up?
You saw it, but I ain't mean to break your bill. But when you say that people romanticize the Tuareg, I don't even think that they even know who the Tuareg are.
I agree.
Or who they romanticizing.
I agree, because none of them, you never hear none of them speak on these social classes. I've never heard nobody before me that spoke on the Tuareg speak on these social classes. So I definitely agree with that.
So the Tuaregs are Arabs, and the slaves, which is the sub-Saharan Africans, they are the ones that also identify as the Tuareg, or the Arabs that married the slaves, not married the slaves, but had intercourse with the slaves that had mixed Arabs. They identify themselves as the Tuareg. I'm trying to get because I'm trying to get a better understanding myself of who the Tuareg was.
You supposed to know that, Kofi.
I'm being honest. I don't know a whole lot about the Tuareg.
I know. I done did something on the Tuareg before, though. That's why I said.
Yeah. I remember you mentioned them. I remember you mentioned them, man. But I can't keep up with what we be doing all the time. Yeah.
Well, the Tuareg, they ain't Berber. I mean, they ain't Arabs. I would say that they Arabized Berbers. Like, you know, some of our people were Arabized too over there. So they Berbers, but they Arabized. They took on Arab culture, Arab religion. A lot of them took on the Arab language, and a lot of them identified themselves as Arabs. Like, you know, it's crazy that Arab in African culture is different, because you might have sub-Saharan black Africans calling other sub-Saharan black Africans Arab just because they take on that culture. So, you know, they Berbers, but they Arabized Berbers. But the Equine was slaves that they bought, raided, or became prisoners of war, and some of them was just full-blooded sub-Saharan African. Some of them mix, you know, from the slave master, you know, having relations the same way it happened over here. You know what I mean? But the Equine consider themselves as Tuareg, but they aren't ethnically Tuareg. They just follow the customs. They're just like, okay, if I say I'm Arab and I dye my beard red and all that, and I start you know, they just following other people's culture like anybody else would do.
Yeah, I got you. And you were saying something about their other platform where the one of the more, what's his name, Tahaka, was that who you said that was?
Yeah. Tahaka Bay, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, he had a debate against Rob Bourne, and he pulled up the Tuareg as if those, and portrayed it as if those were our people. He showed a picture of a equine, a black Tuareg. So he tried to portray it as if those were our people, and my conclusion is those are not our people. Some of our people follow their customs, just like some of our people
I'm gonna
follow
give you a good
Arab
example.
customs and Christian European customs and all that. So they don't make them a different people. You know what I'm saying?
Kofi, this is the Tuareg. This is the lower class Tuareg. Is what the Aboriginals are in America. No. You laughing. No. Listen. They are taking the identity and the cult. They are really stealing somebody else's identity. However, they were integrated. The Tuareg integrated into these areas because the key for the Tuareg, they were nomadic. So the key for the Tuareg, as he said through the presentation, was to control trade routes. They were key in getting you from A to B. If you wanted to get through these through the Sahel or through the Sahara, you had to run into the Tuareg at some point. They were if you listen, they would jack you if you wasn't riding with somebody like that, so you wasn't
That's
paying
right.
them to get your package through. If you needed water, you was running on a few days and your camels wasn't, you know what I'm saying, was out of water and all of that, and you needed some water, the Tuareg knew where to go get you water in the middle of the desert. So they were posted up in these intricate places in the Sahara, controlling the routes. I ain't playing. If you look at their history, they are what's the dude name from the wild that robbed everybody? Omar.
Omar. Omar.
Omar, yeah.
They
Omar.
they were Omar when they needed to be Omar. That's the Tuareg. But the West African Tuareg are what the Aboriginals are in America. They have stolen somebody else's identity and culture and claiming it for itself. But the difference in the West African Tuareg is the fact that they integrated because of admixture and they were having these babies. They were seen as slaves and things of that nature. Now, the Aboriginals can't claim that because they weren't doing all of this admixing as it's going on. And you couldn't separate them from, and as you can see, based on the social class, they were separating 1, 2, and 3.
That's right.
So to what Tech is saying, because he paid attention to some of the food stuff. So I know he on point about this. But when he shows a West African Tuareg, or if he just shows a black Tuareg. No, hold on, let me change that. If he shows a Tuareg of color, phenotype, if he shows a Tuareg that looks like sandish brown, that does not mean he's black African or sub-Saharan African.
Great point.
He could be something else. We have to be real careful. And so I can understand why Satek, you would take the position that you would argue that that's another class of Tuareg and not who we identify as the West African Tuareg or the sub-Saharan Black African Tuareg.
Right, that's a fact. You made a great that's actually the Albo analogy was an excellent analogy. You were spot on with that because we were in slavery via the ancient Americans, Native Americans, whatever you want to call them. And then we assimilated with them and we took on their culture. That's the same exact thing that happened with the Equine. That's the same exact thing that happened with our people with the Tuareg. Would I say that we are Tuareg now because we took on their customs? No, I wouldn't. But, I'll leave that up to the people.
I got that was a great breakdown, well, a great example, man. It gave me a better understanding too of what you were talking about, man. This was a great presentation, man. I just learned something. Like I said, I know Sean mentioned the Tuaregs,
Thank you.
and
No problem, bro.
what happened? What you say, Sean?
No. I was thanking him because when I seen that he was doing the Tuareg presentation, you know what I'm saying? You know how I feel about West Africa, man. We get to talk about West Africa. You know what I'm saying? My juices get to flowing again because you know the book I'm getting ready to crack open. The book, you know what I'm saying? I read that last book that I read, and I'm gonna do an article about scholarship and the foundation of what things were and how we're not advancing the way that our forefathers would have predicted or wanted us to advance. And so when he got to talking about West Africa, it put me back into that mojo because the book I'm opening up is West Africa Volume 2. You know, I done read Volume 1. You know what I'm saying? That was 790 some pages. Volume 2 is 790 some pages as well. So it's going to bring us from, it's going to be more up to date. You know, that will run from the 1500s up to the 1900, or some of the 18 and 1900s. This one going to come in behind that one and bring us to where we need to be too, because there's some pieces in history that's missing that we haven't talked about. So when Sutek mentioned the Tuareg in West Africa, you got to identify, you got to know. Just like the Fulani, it's the same game with the Fulani and the Hausa. You got some of the Hausa that are not sub-Saharan Africa. You got some Fulani that are not sub-Saharan Africa. So how do we distinguish who these African tribes are? This is when people say these things like we need to be careful on who we think is black. They're absolutely right. We have to be careful. Phenotype is one thing, but genetically speaking is a whole nother topic. This is what comes in that scientific argument. So this is when you bring history and science together and you merge them and move forward to draw your conclusion at the end of the day. So I thank Brother Sutek for coming back out, man, and busting guns, because it's gonna be gun busting season from here on out. And we're gonna get into them jihads.
Yeah, we gotta get into them jihads, man. I think we give Islam too much of a pass, and we got to start getting on them just like we get on to the Christians and what they did. We got to get on to Islam and the Muslims and let everybody know what they did too, because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Because we always talking about the Atlantic slave trade, but we never talk about the Barbary Coast slave trade. We never talk about how they had us for what 1400 or 1600 years, somewhere around in there, being enslaved by the Arabs. So we really don't. We never touch on the Arabs, and they part they had in the slave trade. So yeah, we really need to get on that. Really need to get on because we show and give them a pass.
That'll be coming soon. I'm ordering books. The Arabic sources, a lot of the Arabic sources, a lot of the books about Islam and West Africa and Islam and Africa in general. So yes, pretty soon I'll be coming through with another presentation that has to do with that.
Yeah. Well, man, ain't nobody got no questions in there, man. I think this was a solid and good presentation, man. Good job, man. I want to say good job too, man. You did a good job. Your first presentation on Kofi Piesie TV. Like he said, be looking for more presentations because I'm gonna stay on them now. For real, I'm gonna stay on it. About putting out some more of this good content. I know I learned something today. I hope y'all learned something today because that's what it's about. It's about learning. You know what I'm saying? And everybody know, that's my motto. As I learn, we all learn. So as this brother learned, researched and did some information and learned things, he passed that information down to us, man. So again, man, excellent. Excellent job, man. Sean, you got anything else, man, before we end the show, man?
Nah, man. I want to thank Brother Sutek for coming through because to be honest, he actually has another presentation that's already done. You know what I'm saying? That we had a little conversation about, but he decided to come with this. I really thought his first presentation was gonna be the one we originally had. I had got to look at, but it's okay. I stand down. I stand down. But I appreciate the brother Sutek. You know what I'm saying? He bring that West African scholarship because that's what he like to do. But he mix it up in a whole lot of other arenas, and many people you see him in your chat. You see him in the chat room when he building in the chat, man. So he legit. You know what I'm saying? And I thank the brother for taking the time out to put another presentation together because I didn't know that he had this. I didn't know it. I just knew about the other one. So
Yeah, the reason I didn't put that one out is because I seen you and Kofi touched on that already, so I want to kind of say that for later. But yeah, I am gonna bring that out too, and I got like another one that's just about done. It's gonna be a real quick one, but it should be interesting. So yeah, I'll be coming back real soon.
there you have it.
Well, again, man. Yeah, again, good presentation, man. Before we end the show, man, I want to tell people I published another article today. A real good article. Go check out that article. It's called what is it called? Does the conscious community have good character, and what is good character according to African traditions? It's a great. It's kind of lengthy. It's about 8 pages. Um, but it's a real great great article. So go check that article out. I'll be putting out articles till August. So every 2 weeks I'm gonna drop an article. The first article I dropped was um what is the role of an elder? What is an elder and what is the role of an elder? 2 weeks ago, you can go check that one out as well. It's on blackpantherseal.com and it's also on my website, www.kofi Kofi Piesie written compositions .wordpress.com. This presentation I published today. It's on www.kofi written compositions .wordpress.com, and I think Brother Panther's gonna publish it on his website as well, Black Panther Seal. .com. So you'll be able to get them, read them on both presentations. I think y'all enjoyed this one. I'll put it out here.
Kofi.
Uh,
Kofi.
what's
Kofi.
that?
Okay, what I want to say something real quick while you're
Was
talking
it?
about writing articles. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hear you good,
Okay.
my brother.
Okay. All right. So, I just want to say this to the listening audience. Um, in the early night, in the late 1890s and the 1900s, our ancestors, who I would call the forefathers, who kind of really the American Negro Association or Academy, um, the talented 10th, their focus was to challenge academia via writing, arts, crafts, culture, African culture, challenging white academia. That's what their goal. And in order to do that, they were to publish articles yearly, each one of them. They were to write books. Not forced to write books, but to write books in general from the simple fact that they had enough intelligence. They were of further studies and so forth. So my point is, to not to be long-winded, is the fact that we need to encourage writing again. We need to encourage book writing. We need to encourage real scholarship. We need to encourage we need to continue to encourage economic consciousness, health consciousness. We need to be able to put ourselves back in the domain of being respected. Our forefathers fought for us to be here today, to be able to continue to present information to people and liberate the African mind. But the African mind has to also want to be liberated and support the information that is before them. So through TEP-HESIP correct method, we need to continue to inspire others to present, to write, to do everything. Steve's King in the background here, a little hype right now. He want to talk too, but we need to continue to inspire to do those things because we come from a long history of people who were creative, but not creative in the sense of just getting something off and making it look good, but creative in the gesture that not only did it challenge white academia, but it liberated everybody. But I'm gonna be quiet, man, because he ain't gonna be quiet.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, we gotta you done yeah, we gotta get back to writing, man. We gotta get back to writing, and that's I know you done I'm trying to catch up to you. I know you done had a few. I don't know how many you in. I know you in pretty deep with your article. So I appreciate you, man, for inspiring me, man, to start back to trying to write, man. And that last article you put out, the one with the one on the debate of the word Kemet. I'm not gonna be cop. I'm gonna be doing something. It's gonna probably be after I publish this next one in the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna write a write up on who is the Shishu Haru research team. So I'm gonna be basically my articles going to be around those individuals and just sharing just a few information with each one of the chapters that they contribute to. But shoot, I appreciate you, man, for inspiring me, man, to get back to writing. And I said I was going to do it earlier at the beginning of the year, but after you dropped that other one, man, that kind of got me off the ball and got me encouraged to go ahead and start putting them out there, man. So be on the lookout for future articles coming from me, future articles coming from Inherit, and hopefully we'll be able to get Sutek and some of the other brothers to kind of start, publishing some articles, man. But again, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Brother Sutek did a great job. If you missed it, go back in the archives and check it out. If you think anybody that might appreciate this information, please share the show with those who may be, interested in the information that Brother Sutek uh, drop today. Be on the lookout tomorrow on Kofi Piesie TV. We'll be coming back at 6 p.m. I've been doing a series called How White Folks Got So Rich. We on part 4. I did part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 4 I'll be doing tomorrow, but I'll be accompanied by another one of the Kofi Piesie TV affiliate and family member, Brother Satep and Rob Mariaman. So we're gonna be tag teaming on that presentation. On that presentation again. A series is just about white supremacy, how white folks or how white Europeans use white supremacy in order to obtain generational wealth. So we're gonna break down how they lied, stole, you know what I'm saying, and etc. in order for them to gain the wealth that they have. So be looking forward for part 4 with me and Brother Satep Ra at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So come back and join us on Kofi Fireside TV. And the following week, I'll be coming back and I'll be doing the last part of How White Folks Got So Rich, which would be part 5. I think also while you on here in it, Sean, you doing something tomorrow? Or you want me to do something tomorrow? I didn't want to set nothing up tomorrow. If you were doing something tomorrow, so we can let the folks know that.
It's all you remember. I'm still in between my craziness.
Okay. Well, I'll be back on the monster. We took a 2 weeks break. 1 week I ain't have no choice. I
Yeah,
passed
that was
out
your
from
yeah. Talk
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I passed out from exhaustion. And was sick, man. So I didn't get a chance to do anything Sunday. Then last Sunday I just took a break. I still was trying to recover, so I took a break. So the Mossy, we've been consistent every Sunday, but we didn't do anything last weekend or weekend for last. So I'll be back. I'll be doing some the Mossy Warriors, not the Mossy, but the Massa Warrior meets the Lion or something. I don't know what the name of the title is, but we'll get into it tomorrow uh, with that East African ethnic group, the Massa. So we'll get in them tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So join us tomorrow on the Mossy Warrior Clan channel at 2 p.m. and then 6 p.m. on Kofi Pieside TV, where me and Brother Satep and Rob be tag teaming and doing part 4 of How White Folk Got So Rich. We appreciate y'all for tuning in today. Y'all could have been doing anything else with y'all time, but y'all tune in and check my brother Sutek out with his first presentation. Again, that presentation I can say is Ecker. Ecker means excellent. It was an excellent presentation. We're glad to have the brother aboard. And I guess, man, we'll see y'all next. Well, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Black African Power, family. We out. Go back there. I just go to the.
When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man. I'm bridging my team, green, black and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I shit. Bring Brooklyn on the end, I shit. Enemy line.
Ooh, excuse me.